welcome to Real Life Keto Radio. Today we are going to tackle a question that we actually get, probably the most commonly asked question that we get. So we thought it would be great to talk about with you all today. And that is, what do you guys actually eat? Now, for starters, serious disclaimer, that is, Rebecca and I are not strict keto. We mention that almost every single episode because we want to be fully transparent. We never want to be inauthentic. And so we want you to know, we do not generally count our macros in order to be strict keto. I am currently doing carb cycling, so I am tracking my macros, but I eat a little bit more, I eat more carbs than you would on a traditional keto diet. So I have some high fat days, some low fat days. It's just called carb cycling. It's a little bit kind of next level of keto, I guess. But it is working well for me. But what we want to talk about is kind of what we would eat on a traditional low carb, high fat day. And that is what we shoot for, but we don't traditionally get too strict. So first of all, when we look at our day, one thing that we do consistently is we don't eat until 12 or 2 probably every single day. That is just kind of a routine that we have both established. And it's not like, oh, it's 12 o'clock, we have to eat. It's more like, when does my body telling me that I'm hungry? That's when I'll start eating. So there are many times when we get together in the afternoon and it's 3 or 4 o'clock and we're going to record or do some serious work. And it's like, oh, we should probably eat before we get into this. Eating has become not top of mind for us all the time, which is glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, we didn't start off that way. Both of us started by drinking exogenous ketones. We got that fuel in our body, and it just made it easier to keep pushing kind of our first meal of the day back. It's kind of interesting because my husband and I did a pretty impromptu trip to Arkansas and back this weekend. So it was a lot of driving. And I remember what our road trips used to look like. I mean, I'd have to pack a cooler with snacks and drinks. Every time we stopped, we'd go to the gas station to go to the bathroom. We'd be buying sodas and other snacks. And we were just eating or thinking about eating the whole time. Mm-hmm. And we literally were I think we were in the car over 22 hours total over the course of a couple of days. And I don't think we ate a single snack.
Wow. And isn't that amazing?
I know, but it's not even I was like, oh, I shouldn't snack. I should try not to snack. I just didn't think about it. And it literally used to be the whole trip, managing space for the snacks and the drinks, and then handing things up and back to kids and unwrapping and having a lot of trash. And other than some gum, we really weren't doing that. And it just made the trip so much easier. I mean, we did stop to eat an actual restaurant food. Although with some of the closures, we had to bring the food into the car and eat because we couldn't eat in the restaurant, but it wasn't that snacking kind of thing. So that is something that you need to understand, that Bridget and I both do. That in and of itself gives us a lot more flexibility with what we do eat, which is why both of us have tended kind of to move away from a super strict keto lifestyle. I don't like feeling restricted and having to track everything that I eat. So I drink ketones. I do intermittent fasting by pushing my eating window, where the eating window gets smaller and smaller and my non-eating window gets bigger. And the great thing of that is it frees up so much time and mental space and space in my car when I'm traveling.
Yeah. I'm thinking about when we did road trips when my kids were little, and they're so bored in the car when they're little. And we would have, like Rebecca, a huge bag full of snacks. And we would tell them, every time the clock strikes a new hour, you get a snack. And I mean, they would watch it. And on the hour, we would all have a snack. So every single hour we were eating candy or chips or snack cakes or whatever. I mean, it's interesting once you get away from that and you're around people who are still being fueled by carbs. It is very interesting. People eat all the time and you just kind of forget because you get away from that. So
yeah, that does remind me, I need to do a confession, because my sister was on the trip. When she gets in, she shows me all of her snacks, and she did have some kind of, I don't know, it's drizzled popcorn or something. And so I did try that she brought it. But that would have been a thing that I sat there before and I would just like literally eat the whole bag. So it's just nice. Like we just talked and sang and did whatever. But we do want to give people like some actual foods that you can and should eat. Some tips for some swaps that you can make out, whether you're eating at home or you're eating out. Just some things that we found that make it really easy to lower the carbs and increase the fat in your diet, which in turn will also make it easier, incidentally, to increase your fasting window.
Right. So before, like Rebecca and I both eat out a lot. We are pretty fully disclosure about that. But thinking of things at home, I'll tell you a couple of my staples. Today I had Keto Cereal. There's a couple different brands of Keto Cereal, so that sounded good to me today. It's something I do every week or two. I had some Keto Cereal with unsweetened almond milk as my first meal of the day. I love to take a low carb tortilla and just put like a bunch of lunch meat that doesn't have any of the preservatives in it, and mayonnaise because that's good healthy fat, and that's pretty much it because I don't even do cheese, but you could put cheese on it. And I just eat that, and it's a good filling thing. And I'll sometimes just slice an avocado to eat with it. You know, I might have nuts on the side. One thing that we love is I love to just buy smoked salmon that is already cooked because I'm all about convenience. That's a super easy, delicious thing with some good healthy fats in it, good protein. It's already cooked. You just eat it. And you could eat it with like low carb crackers. I just eat it plain with maybe avocado or some kind of just veggies to eat quickly with it. So those are kind of just,
you're saying something about eating it with crackers or not. Nowadays, there are lots of keto products that are prepackaged and made at the store. When Bridget and I first made this transition, there weren't really that many truly keto products that were readily available. You kind of would have to order in advance or go to a specialty store. It just wasn't as popular. And so I had really gotten out of the habit when I was at home of eating sandwiches with bread. I would just get like bacon and turkey and tomato and mayo. And, you know, just with my fork and knife, I would eat my quote unquote sandwich without bread because I was trying to cut my carbs. So I just did that by not eating bread. Now there are lots of keto breads on the market. Some are better than others. So you can do your research. Always read your labels. My husband was super excited because he missed the bread. I decided I didn't even really like it that much. So sometimes I'll do the keto bread, but a lot of times I've just gotten to the habit of, like you said, you know, you eat your salmon without crackers. I mean, I do that a lot of times. I'll do tuna salad a lot. So I'll take canned tuna, some pickles, some mayo, mix it up. I don't even remember, could not tell you the last time I put that on bread. I just kind of eat it.
Right. And with tuna salad, you can add eggs in, then you're getting more fat. On my little tortilla, low carb tortilla with lunch meat, I'll also do the bacon that's already cooked. I'm all about things that are already cooked. Bacon that's already cooked, and you can just stick it in the microwave and heat it up for 30 seconds, done. Or sometimes I'll make it like a whole big package of regular bacon in the oven on a aluminum foil, and then it is like not messy. You can just throw away the aluminum foil, and then I've got bacon for the week to put on that kind of sandwich that I make.
So I love bacon too. Like you taught me how to do that bacon on the sheet, so it's real easy with cleanup. Because I always had trouble, like if I fried bacon, it's like, what do I do with this grease? It's good grease, but like I grew up in the country, they used to keep it just on the like kitchen counter on the stove. I'm like, I really didn't like that, seeing that. So that was always a problem. But now I've got the like foil. I just kind of fold it up and toss it. I don't have to even, mess with all that. But bacon was something that we do a lot at home. And I'll do like a BLT, but most of the time I don't put it on any kind of keto bread. I just kind of
Right. You can do that with lettuce wraps, buy the iceberg lettuce, wrap it up, makes a really nice, easy wrap.
Or there are tons of low carb keto tortillas now as well as bread. So you can do wraps or sandwiches at home. We do breakfast for lunch or for dinner quite often.
Yeah, that's a favorite. We do that at least once a week. And we even have there's keto pancakes that come already packaged, super easy to mix up. And
Or
then we do, of
chaffles.
course, bacon and eggs. Yeah, chaffles. There are just so many good options. You can do a roast and just do carrots and meat and maybe some other, some people put radish. I've never done this, but radishes in.
You
To
cannot tell. I'm telling
potatoes.
you cannot tell that they are not potatoes.
That's crazy. So there's just lots of good, it's mainly meat and veggies is kind of what we're really heavy on when we're at home. So that kind of talks you through like what a traditional day. Oh, here's one more favorite thing for me is take salami, and I use fake cream cheese because I can't do regular, but definitely regular cream cheese tastes better. Cream cheese on the salami, and then I take a dill pickle and put it inside and like wrap it up. It is so good. That combination, and people do it with ham too.
Sounds good to me.
Salami, cream cheese, and a pickle. Love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
When I was a kid, we lived in Germany for a while. And one thing that I picked up over there is butter with salami, which whenever I told people about it, they were like, that's so weird. I was like, well, I learned it when I lived overseas. But nowadays, great. Butter is great for keto and salami. And I'll just, like smear the butter on like you do your cream cheese and roll it up and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are even more and more convenience foods like that have like maybe a cheese stick rolled up with pepperoni or something on the outside. Those are things that if you're thinking, well, I need stuff for my kids' lunches, I don't have a lot of time, or I want stuff for my lunch to take to work. There are some convenience items like that. You can get a hard-boiled egg that's already cooked in a little bag or a little container. So there are options like that if you still want the convenience, but you're trying to do a little more keto.
Yeah, they're great little protein packs with meat and cheese and nuts. We buy those like in bulk. My whole family likes them, and I love to see them snacking on that instead of other things that they used to snack on. So
watch out for some of those, because some of them will have like dried cranberries in there or things that are a little bit higher in carb, which again, we're not the keto police. We're not strict keto. Just like Bridget mentioned when she was doing pot roast, throwing in some carrots. Carrots aren't usually on a strict keto diet. But if you're cutting out major carbs like potatoes and bread, you can throw some carrots in there. Carrots have a lot of good vitamins in them. So, again, it's finding that balance that's right for you.
Right. If you want to get crazy, throw some carrots in there. But radishes are great for the potato substitute. Mexican is another great option that we love. And we'll do like pounds and pounds of ground beef with the taco seasoning. And, might get chips for the rest of my family, but then I would just do it on lettuce. Guacamole is awesome with that. If you do dairy, sour cream and cheese on top, you cannot go wrong. And that is delicious. And you'll find that you really don't miss the chips. But if you're wanting that crunch, the low carb tortillas is something you could do instead of a soft shell. Or for me, I do pork rinds with it. And that it kind of gives me that crunch. I don't love pork rinds nearly as much as chips. So for me, I crumble the pork rinds on top. So I have the crunchiness, but it's not too much pork rind flavor. So that's been a good trick for me for on Mexican nights. And my whole family loves it. And then I'm not a standout doing something different.
Yeah, we love Mexican too. That's probably one of we kind of gravitate toward Mexican and Italian and just kind of go back and forth. But Mexican is so delicious and easy to make keto, right? Like, don't get the burrito, like just get it in a bowl. And a lot of places, even if you're going out to eat, will have those on the menu boards or the menus, that you can just get a bowl instead of a burrito. There are more and more offering cauliflower rice.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's something that you can do at home. That's also good for like Asian stir fry. You can use cauliflower rice. And if you're using a lot of seasonings and other veggies and meats, like once you mix that all in, you're really not going to notice that it tastes maybe a little bit different. And you might even find that you prefer it. Something else I do with Mexican is I tend to limit the beans. Beans can be kind of high in carbs. So I'm not really big on the refried beans or the black beans or the rice. So I'll just kind of load up on more veggies, cheese, guacamole or avocado, sour cream. I don't have a dairy sensitivity, so I can do a little bit more than Bridget has freedom to do. And, a variety of proteins, maybe mixing steak and chicken or the ground beef, or, you just have so many options, and they're so flavorful because of the seasonings that you can really get away with not having the rice, not having the beans, not having the tortilla. And my real life keto balance is I get rid of those things because I do still really like the tortilla chips. I love the warm, salty tortilla chips. So
Mhm.
I cut my carbs in other ways. I used to go, I'd get the tortilla, the rice, the beans, I'd have a soda.
Mhm.
So now by cutting all those out, I can enjoy the chips and not feel guilty.
Right. That's awesome. And I love what you said about the cauliflower rice, because our favorite kind of takeout Mexican place that we go to just got the cauliflower rice. So I love to just get the bowl with the lettuce, cauliflower rice, veggies. I get double protein and avocado or guacamole is what they have there. So,
And for those of you that want the crunch of the chips, but you don't really like pork rinds and you don't really want to like spend all of your carbs on a few actual chips, when I'm at home, I'll take a low carb tortilla, spray it with olive oil, sprinkle it either with kosher salt or some pink Himalayan salt, and I'll bake that in the oven, flip it, spray it, salt it, bake it in the oven, and it crisps up. So then you feel like sometimes you don't want to be the weirdo that just doesn't eat the chips, right?
mhm.
And so then you've got an actual chip that you can dip into your queso. If you want to do salsa, you can, or your guacamole, you can do that. You get that satisfying warm chip, salty crunch thing, but you're not wasting a lot on carbs.
Yeah, that's awesome. So those are our Mexican tips. Italian, you can still do awesome, awesome things with Italian, even being keto or low carb. So for me, for Italian, my favorite substitutes, I love spaghetti squash. We do that probably weekly. We do a spaghetti squash, super easy. And here's a little hack. So it is hard to cut into the spaghetti squash. We go ahead and bake it for like 10 minutes to start getting it soft. Then we cut it open, scoop out the seeds, and then we lay it face down with a lot of olive oil on the pan. And man, that is so good. And what's fun is then we take the spaghetti sauce. They have low carb spaghetti sauces. Of course, we cook it with a lot of ground beef and sausage. And then we actually just put, like, we kind of shred up our spaghetti squash and then put the sauce and meat on top, and it makes its own little bowl. And it's just like super fun. My kids put Parmesan cheese on top, and that's a great meal that everyone likes. And there are different low carb pastas as well that are made from different different vegetables and things like that are really high in protein. But spaghetti squash has just kind of become a staple for us. And you can even
Have
buy.
you ever fixed it in one of those pressurized pots?
No.
Because I have made my spaghetti sauce in it and put the whole squash thing in it, pressurize it. It's all done in one pot. It's amazing.
That is amazing. Also, I'm all about the convenience stuff as well. If I don't even want to take the time to do that, you can even buy the spaghetti squash frozen. You can get, what is the other? There's a different.
Zucchini noodles, zoodles.
Right. That's what I was trying to think of. We have some of that in our freezer right now. There's even butternut squash made into spaghetti. There's all kinds of different vegetables that you can get frozen that are basically like a pasta substitute that are just great alternatives.
Yeah. But, this kind of reminds me of our discussion about bread. So I kind of went low carb before low carb was really cool, and there were lots of bread alternatives. I did the same kind of thing with pasta. Is I started just making either my pizza toppings on a plate, cheese, pepperoni. I'd put a little onion and green peppers in there, dice up a tomato. I'd heat it up and I would just eat it. No pizza crust at all. I would do the same thing with spaghetti. I would fix spaghetti for my husband. He still loves it. But I would take the ground beef and the low carb sauce, put it on a plate, add some Parmesan cheese on top or some mozzarella cheese. And I even make kind of a layered lasagna sometimes. No noodles at all. And I just basically cook this in the microwave. I get the low carb sauce with the meat. I take ricotta cheese. I mix Parmesan cheese in it and garlic and a little Italian seasoning. I layer that on the plate. I put the sauce on, and then I'll put some like shredded Parmesan on top and like kind of heat that up in the oven. It's amazing. I don't even miss the noodles. So because I kind of adapted before all these noodle alternatives became readily available, a lot of times I just don't even mess with taking the zucchini noodles out of the freezer. I keep them in there. I also have some dehydrated spaghetti squash that's all ready to go. It's in a box. Sometimes I'll take that out, pop it in some boiling water and use that. But like I said, a lot of times I don't even miss the noodles at all. So I don't even use a substitute.
Mm-hmm. And isn't that interesting? That's what we love about our real life keto options, because I do want the noodles because I can't do the dairy, but Rebecca can like lather up with all those fun cheeses and all of that. So then she doesn't really care as much about the noodles, noodle substitute. So that is Mexican food. It is Italian food.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, another thing that I do for Italian food, like I do miss garlic bread. Like I do. And, you know, like when you
It's okay to admit that. This is a safe place.
Yeah. And sometimes I eat it. Like, I'm like, hey, I used to eat the bread and the pasta with the soda. So now I'm not doing the pasta. So if I want to have a little bread, I'll have a little bread. I don't do the soda. I figure I'm still better off. But one thing I do to kind of make my dinner at home more filling and where I kind of don't miss the bread as much is I'll get like the buffalo mozzarella, like the sliced really good mozzarella. I'll take a little bit of basil, maybe a sliced tomato, take some balsamic vinegar and drizzle it on there and eat that kind of like a Capri salad. It's amazing. And that extra fat from the cheese. I know, Bridget, you don't do dairy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But it's so filling for me. I'm not thinking about the bread that I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another tip.
That's good. What else?
Well, how about just like basic American food, right? Like pub food, hamburgers, hot dogs. I mean, a real easy solution. Don't get the bun, right? A lot of places will bring you out, like you said, iceberg lettuce leaves. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I, a lot of times, will eat mine with a fork and knife. I met my husband today for lunch. We went to a burger place. I decided to eat half the bun. Is that a perfect keto choice? No. But is it better than what I used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Soda, both buns and fries? Yeah, it's a lot better.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about being 1% better every day and doing what is realistic, you all, because we've been doing this for 5 and 6 years because we've made it doable and realistic and not burned ourselves out by trying to have perfect macros every single day. Of course, salads is an awesome option. I mean, there are so many good salads with bacon bits and, you know, if you can do cheese and avocado, sunflower seeds. I mean, there's just so many good things. Eggs. I love eggs on a salad. So many great things that you can do with a salad. And with eating out, I mean, it is so fun for me to eat out and get steak. And sometimes they'll have like that butter topping, which I will go ahead and get, just like garlic butter on top of a steak. I mean, that is just delightful. And a lot of times if I'm out with girls, they're like, you're getting a steak? I'm like, yeah, I get steaks a lot. I love them. You know, so that's a great option. You know, for me,
a little bit about, we mentioned salad. So I just want to throw out a little bit of information because sometimes people think, oh, I'm getting a salad. I'm being healthy. Well, maybe, but maybe not. Like a lot of times they're making salads more and more interesting, right? And they're putting in new ingredients and trying to have this kind of salad and that kind of salad. If there are if there's a lot of dried fruit in your salad, that can add the carb content up quickly. If you're putting potato sticks or croutons on your salad, you're kind of undoing a lot of what you might be trying to do. Salad dressings can be great. They can be extremely sneaky, right? And you might not know. A lot of people I know bring their own salad dressings because it's hard to know what's in a salad dressing. But if it tastes really sweet to you, it's probably got a lot of sugar in it. And a lot of salad dressings are made with soybean oil, which is not the best. But again, good, better, best. If you're eating a salad, whereas before you had burgers, fries, and a milkshake, you're probably okay using a not so perfect dressing. But try to look for those dressings that are higher in fat, you know, like a blue cheese or a ranch, especially if you can ascertain that they don't have a lot of added sugars to them. And you do want to make sure that you are adding fat to your salads, because if you're getting a salad that's just mostly lettuce and you maybe add a little bit of protein on it, maybe grilled chicken, there's not much fat on there. Fat is what makes you feel full longer. And it's actually something that helps you absorb more of the vitamins and the minerals that are actually in the salad. And so ways that you can add fat: salad dressing, cheese, bacon, avocado, eggs. So just think about, even if you're adding protein to your salad, maybe adding some fat intentionally as well. It's going to make it delicious, and it's going to make it feel more like a meal and less like rabbit food or diet
Mhm.
food.
Yeah, that's good. So salad is a staple. Steak or, burgers, salmon, those are kind of the main things that I'll eat if I'm going out to a traditional American restaurant. I will sometimes get a sweet potato, and I just love that with butter. You got, obviously be careful. Sometimes they want to put like super fun brown sugar and marshmallows and all these fun toppings, but butter and maybe some nuts on a sweet potato. Again, more high carb than probably a lot of people do who are strict keto. But for me, it falls within my range of kind of what I like to do as with carb cycling or more lazy keto, or keto-ish, or Rebecca says carb-conscious, whatever you want to call what we are, our own real life keto. But sweet potatoes are something that I do enjoy.
And I think it's important as we eat out, especially as kind of at sit-down restaurants, right? We're used to the bread basket coming onto the table, and we're noshing on that before we ever get our meal. You could eat a day's worth of carbs before your meal even gets close to coming to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not required that you accept the bread basket.
Mm-hmm.
You can just tell them at the outset, we don't want any bread, don't bring it. Or you can say, maybe you're going to splurge. Like sometimes there's a steak restaurant that I love. They have really good yeast rolls. I used to eat probably 3 or 4 before my meal ever came. And if I go to that restaurant, I still want a yeast roll, but now I treat that as my dessert. I'll limit myself to 1, and I realize I'm basically eating dessert with that yeast roll.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not saying you can't have it, just make an intentional choice. And if you know that you can't resist it, when that warm, like buttery bread is right in front of you, just tell them not to bring it. That's okay.
Yeah. And what it all goes back to is, are you meeting your goals? Is what you're doing working for you? If it's not, you got to tighten up a little bit maybe and start counting your macros or get a little bit more strict. But if your goals for your own health and your life are being met, then don't like put yourself under this weird pressure to do something or to perform in some way if you're content with where you are, with which both of us are. But you all, we are out of time for today. I hope this is helpful. We wanted to answer like a question that we get asked a lot and just share some of our tips with you, kind of what it looks like in our real life keto, and hope that helps you wherever you are on your journey. So that's it for now.
Go create your best life.